Hello everyone, greetings and salutations. I hope you're all doing well. Here is a brief video showing my typical workflow for tracking and monitoring the Doomsday planes, the E-4 and E-6 aircraft that routinely orbit over the continental US and frequently off the coasts, relaying communications, and in the case of the E-4, serving as an airborne command post. What I do is I start off and gather information about the current situation, weather, current events, things of that nature, and then I drill down to figuring where the aircraft are and which SDR sites are the best ones to use for listening and capturing those EAM transmissions in the best quality. So the place I normally start is here on blitzertung.org. That's www.blitzertung.org. You can see it up on the screen. If you want to read the whole URL, just pause the video and blitzertung.org. It's a very nice site for observing live real-time lightning strikes all around the world. What you see right now is the lightning activity over North America. It's actually a pretty decent evening right now. We're actually in the wee hours of the morning in the east, pretty late at night in the west. There are some thunderstorms up north along the Canadian border between Minnesota and North Dakota. Some more storms in the Texas Panhandle, and a lot more activity in the Gulf of Mexico and south of the Florida Keys, and some other areas of thunderstorm activity off the coast of the Carolinas, North and South Carolina, and eastern Georgia. The reason I check for lightning is because I don't want to listen from an SDR that's under thunderstorm activity. The lightning strikes are very strong and disruptive if you're too close to the storms. The thunderstorms can also generate noise which will propagate a couple hundred miles away from the storm. So if you're right in that zone where the lightning noise is coming in on the first hop, you might have a high noise level. After looking at the lightning strikes, come over to the Aviation Weather Center. Take a look here. This is the surface prog chart. It shows the areas of high and low pressure, troughs, fronts, to get a general idea of what's going on. In fact, it's pretty quiet right now. You've got some stagnant high pressure over the northeast and the Midwest. The Rocky Mountain states have high pressure, and there are some troughs associated with the low pressure. There's a rather small high pressure area over east central California, southwestern Nevada. Pretty quiet weather-wise. Not much is going on. Coming over to ADSB Exchange, take a look at that URL. It's tar1090.adsbexchange.com. And what you see here is the ICAO or ADSB hex code for one of the E-6 aircraft. So I've had this list running for a little while. What I do when I pull up the radar map on ADSB Exchange, I'll click on the filter up here. The letter U filters out the commercial aircraft and limits the display to military aircraft, and then sort by type. And then go down the list. Here's an E-6 type, which is one of the TACAMO airplanes. The call sign is Cowan 18, and their squawk is 0563. They're at 32,000 feet. I would call it flight level 320. And what else is going on? Shows their distance from some point, which I'm not really interested in. The important part here is that Cowan 18 seems to be in level flight, and they've got a track showing here that they took off, went down to the Gulf of Mexico, turned around, went north, and now they've turned around again, and they're flying southeast bound. They're pretty close to the Wyoming-Colorado border. There are some pretty good SDR sites over there. There's a very good one in Wyoming. There's another one over in Kansas. And there are some other sites in Texas, New Mexico that are pretty good. I might actually try to get some signals from the one in Wyoming, see how it goes. If the aircraft is not too far away, we can actually hear it directly. And if it's already in the skip zone, if we have long skip going on, then it might be better to listen from a more distant site. And the frequency matters as well. These Doomsday planes tend to spend most of their time on 11175, even at nighttime. If they're having trouble communicating on 11175, they'll move down to 8992 or 6739, and occasionally they'll pop up on some other frequency like 8776, for example. So there's a map that shows where at least one TACAMO aircraft is right now. Another good way to find out what has been going on recently is to go to Twitter and do a search. What you see here is a search for the E-4B. Plug it in there, wait for the page to load, and click on latest. And these are the most recent posts about the E-4B. Somebody's describing what it is. The next post, this is from about 3 hours ago, shows a photograph of an E-4. And then here's a site which actually follows the activity of these aircraft. This user is called MIL and ADS-B and Virtual Radar. If you want to get their handle, here it is, at MIL ADS-B Radar. And they follow the aircraft and post pictures of the map from a tracker site and other information. What I like about some of these Twitter followers here that follow the aircraft and put up postings is they'll give you the hail number and also the hex code, which is useful in trying to find out if the aircraft is up and in range of an ADS-B receiver. Now, notice down here, there are some other postings in other languages that may have nothing at all to do with the E4 or E6 aircraft. So there's a search for the E4. Here's a similar search for the E6. And Craig Hastings is talking about the E6 flight computer, which is a circular slide rule. I presume there's an electronic version which is used by pilots to do various calculations. You can convert temperatures, quantities of fuel, go between metric and imperial units. You can also work out time, fuel, distance, wind drift, and various nav problems. That's not what we're looking for now. We are interested in the E-6B TACAMO aircraft. So here's a posting from the user that we saw before. This time you can see something about TACAMOs. There was a rough 07 flight. That was up 5 hours ago, 8 hours ago. Here's another posting. pitch 10 was up flying. Tail number 164407 and the hex code Alpha Echo 0419. These hex codes are useful because you can go to ADSB Exchange and plug in the hex code. The syntax is ICAO equals and then the hex code. Put that in there and execute that, and you can load up a map that'll tell you what's going on. It appears at the present time the E6 is not showing right now on the map. Well, the way it goes. Show up, they disappear. They show up again later. Try to recycle things. That aircraft is at 32,000 feet. There should be ADSB receiver down there somewhere that's getting a few pings. Nope, apparently not. Sometimes they do turn off their ADSB equipment. E-4 airborne command post aircraft will frequently fly and turn off the ADSB. They'll just disappear for a while and then they'll reappear later when their activities are not so critical. Okay, next, there are some open source intelligence sites that follow these aircraft. Here's one called Aleph, A-L-E-P-H dot Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, and there's a category HFGCS. And here is a list of recent EAMs that have been transmitted. You can see here the preamble is on there. A lot of the people who collect and follow the EAM activity will categorize these according to the preamble. 4XYUEX, 4XZCGW, M5F632. So you see the whole EAM and you'll see a time in UTC 0403, earlier 0233, 0147, 0133, etc. And occasionally a long EAM will go up. They'll note that it's a bit longer, 31 characters. Check here, are there especially long ones, any 100 character or more EAMs. If there is an exercise going on, or if there's a real world event happening and they're increasing the amount of traffic, you'll see more of those and you'll see some long EAMs being sent. Let's go back 3 pages and see what's in there. Well, it appears to be pretty run-of-the-mill stuff. Note also the call signs of the sender. Sea Otter sent a bunch of them. Majority. And I thought I saw a familiar call sign down near the bottom of page 2. Roll call. Roll call. Roll call was pretty busy. So Aleph is pretty good. Puts up a lot of EAMs, and also see if I can pull them up on Twitter. If I click on this, these open source intelligence sites will put up interesting headlines if anything of note is happening in the world. No, I don't want to log in. No thanks. The reason I'm pulling up a left site is to show you recent activity. If we can at least get a few bits and bytes from Twitter. I'll be so happy and I can show you what's going on. There was some news out of Russia that one of the opposition figures was poisoned. He was on an aircraft, got sick. The aircraft did an emergency landing, get down quickly and give that guy to the medical professionals. And he's unconscious. This is a posting from about an hour ago. Alexei Navalny. That's the way those guys roll, man. If you're an opposition figure over there, you can accidentally on purpose fall out of a window or get poisoned. To get poisoned, you don't even have to be in Russia. You can be in the UK or someplace else. So you have to watch out if you are an opposition figure. Over here, they just trash your name and your reputation with all kinds of stuff. Maybe you did it, maybe you didn't. So, that's Twitter. Now, earlier we did see a TACAMO aircraft that was up around the Colorado-Wyoming border. A good place to find SDR sites and sort them geographically is on this website here. The URL is ve3sun.com/KiwiSDR. This list comes up, and there's a very nice tool at the top of the page. It's a map, and you can grab this map, move it around, and put the crosshairs on the part of the world that you're interested in, and that will form the 0 point of this list, and it will list Kiwi SDRs in order of increasing distance. So the very top SDR is the one closest to the crosshairs. And we see here there's one in Fort Collins, Colorado, the N0EMP SDR. That one is pretty good. I use it a lot of the time. And we have some other ones. Fort Collins, Omaha, Kansas. I don't see the W0 Alpha Yankee SDR, but I know the URL for that one. And in fact, I've loaded it up here. It's in Stevensville, Montana. It's interesting. It doesn't show the call sign, but we know who it is. And right now, there doesn't seem to be activity on 11175. That's the way it is sometimes. You find out where the TACAMO is flying. Sometimes there are 2 or 3. There have been times when 4 or 5 of them have been up there when there's been an exercise, and lots of TACAMOs are flying, maybe even 1 E4. I don't think we've had any recent instances of multiple E4s being up. If you know where they are, if you know where to pick a good site and avoid noise sources like the thunderstorms, if you have a favorite SDR that receives really well, you can bring it up and look. Thanks to the rather crap internet service right now and the choked flow of bits and bytes from here to my location, this thing is not doing a good job of running.
Around the Pacific Northwest.
All right, after reloading the page, it's behaving a bit better. I'll zoom out a little bit. Let's look for other signals. Occasionally, stations will show up on one or two other frequencies up here in 11 megs. 11.282 seems to come to mind. Nothing. How about 8, 9, or 9 or 2? See what's going on. Zooming out more just to get an idea of whether the band is open or not. If signals are flowing in. Well, I don't hear anything. We're not getting a waterfall. Eight, 992 is quiet. How about 8776? (8776) is quiet. 6739er. How about 6739? Anyone? Anyone? The Kiwi SDRs are somewhat resilient in that if the data rate between here and there is low, we can still hear the audio, although we can't see what's on the waterfall display. The waterfall display takes a lot more data, and you'll just have a blank waterfall or maybe the old settings. And you'll still hear what's going on, but you can't see it. Now I've been zooming in and zooming out, and obviously not getting anything on the waterfall because we're not getting enough data to show it. No problem, things seem to be pretty quiet right now. So, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is how I come in, look at what's going on, go through the process, and pick a listening site. Sometimes I will move between sites out there. I'll listen in one place. If I'm having trouble hearing or there seems to be nothing going on, I might try somewhere else. And in fact, if I'm hearing somebody giving an EAM transmission, if they're not coming in very well, I'll jump to another SDR in the hopes that I can find some location out there that's got good reception on the signal. And that approach works pretty well. Well, that's all I have for you at this point. Thanks for listening, and come back again. I'll have another video for you.